Ms. Legalista here. Welcome to the video. I think this is probably one of the scarier ones that I have looked at when it comes to this fraud and these scams. This one has to do with your cell phone. Now, most of us have authentication tied to our cell phone. We will sign in and it'll say, hey, we're going to send a code to your cell phone. You get that code, you put it back in, you're good to go. But what if something happens to your cell phone? Well, I want to go to this case where this woman almost lost $17,000. Well, actually, she did lose it. Listen to this.
News is asking a security question tonight that deals with your cell phone. How did a Maryland woman lose $17,000 even though she had two-factor authentication on all of her accounts?
Security experts tell I-Team investigator Scott Taylor that it's a lot simpler than you could ever imagine.
We all know criminals have multiple ways to steal your identity, but 7 News is sending out a warning. SIM card swapping almost cost Sharon Hussey of Bethesda, Maryland, $17,000.
It was absolutely stunning. It was just like my heart fell to the floor.
It all started when Hussey got this email thanking her for a purchase of a new phone at Verizon. Minutes later, her contact information at Bank of America changed.
Now, let's stop here. Okay. We're going to break this down because where did things fall through the gaps? Verizon. It said Verizon sent her an email thanking her for her purchase for a new phone. Well, in her name, and it sounds like via her account, something is going on there. So it sounds like that was the first security issue right there. Something on with Verizon not verifying. The question becomes, so when this person comes in and says, this is my cell phone number, is Verizon asking for identification? How are they confirming that that is the person? I don't know.
The problem, she didn't do either transaction and had two-factor authentication on her accounts.
The bottom just kind of dropped out.
She called Bank of America, but her cell phone was no longer active. An online attempt required a verification code her phone couldn't receive. Within minutes, her 17 grand was missing.
And that's how it happens. That's how quickly this money can be gone. How many of you can afford to just have $17,000 taken out of your account and not know whether or not you're going to get that money back?
Initially, I didn't realize how big of a deal it was. I thought I had handled it on the first day by calling the bank, calling Verizon, figuring things out.
Hussey tells 7 News Verizon said someone in California walked into one of its stores and purchased a new phone along with a new SIM card and used Hussey's current phone number to activate the new phone.
So let's stop there. Suppose for a minute that the Verizon employee is in on the whole scam. Typically, your employees may be following standard operating procedures. My first thought is, did you have the correct operating procedures in place, Verizon? Maybe you did. Maybe it was the employee who is a part of this whole scheme to help get the $17,000. And it's, hey, friend, come on in. I'll get you the phone, and then you can go access this person's bank account. We'll split the money. Maybe that's the way it worked. Right now, we don't really know what happened in this case, except that that transaction took place.
When the new phone was turned on, Hussey's phone went dead. Hussey used a landline to contact Bank of America, but it was too late. 17 grand vanished.
And I have two-factor authentication, which ended up kind of biting me in the face when it all came down to it. That was the thing that completely hijacked everything.
It was supposed
They had
to
complete
protect her.
control of my phone, and there was nothing I could do about it.
SIM card swapping has been around for the past 4 years. But security experts tell 7 News this type of scam has recently skyrocketed.
In 2021, roughly 6 times as many dollars were stolen through this as the years before.
And it's now 2024, okay? He was stating statistics from 2021. This particular video that we're looking at has only been out for maybe 4 or 5 months.
Online security expert Alex Kulisi with UMail says the scam is simple.
The bad guys convince the telephone company that they have the SIM for your phone number. And the minute the phone company does the swap, they're in control of your number.
Scammers then use two-factor authentication through your cell phone to access your accounts.
If you've been doing two-factor authentication everywhere to your mobile phone number, if someone else gets that mobile phone number, they can authenticate as if they're you.
Over the next 3 months, Bank of America denied Hussey's claim, saying it can't be honored. Eventually, the bank reversed its initial decision and refunded the 17 grand.
Let me tell you this. Every time I turn around, this is what I hear. This is what I hear time and time again, that these financial institutions, the very first thing they're going to do is to deny your claim. In some instances, they will deny it again, even if you appeal it. You are actually going to have to work in most cases to get your money back, even though you did not do anything wrong. And I suggest that you make sure you report, follow their deadlines, because usually there's a 30-day deadline. A lot of times people are finding out that these scams are taking place immediately. So meeting the deadline is not even the issue. The bank is still denying that fraud took place. You really have to look out for yourself here. Nobody else is going to look out for you.
Bank of America tells 7 News, we take identity theft very seriously. We are always working to improve the experience, knowing that resolving identity theft issues is a complicated process.
And I guess that's why Bank of America is now facing what looks like maybe a class action lawsuit, because they do tend to just go ahead and deny these claims. And at least that's what's being alleged in the lawsuit. We'll see how that goes.
Verizon said in an email, when potential fraud is brought to its attention, it works quickly to resolve the matter. And due to customer privacy laws, it can't share specifics in its investigation.
Now, you can imagine that they are probably taking a look at their process in terms of, okay, so where did we drop the ball here? Because we sent a phone to somebody else that allowed that person to get access to somebody else's bank account. So I know they are concerned about being on the hook for $17,000 in this case, and possibly being on the hook if they don't get proper procedures in place, don't get employees trained to follow those procedures and stop this kind of fraud from taking place. Like, they had a gap here. Here
are several ways you can better protect yourself from SIM card swapping.
So the number one thing is to make sure you get a PIN or a number porting PIN with your carrier. That requires a special code that hopefully only you have, that needs to be given to the carrier before they can do the SIM swap.
Wow, scary stuff.
Yes, I agree. Very scary stuff, because most of us have things tied to our phone. Even when we call, they'll say, well, we see that you're calling from, and they'll say the number, and you are already in our system. Yes, but what if somebody else has your phone? So the key is, as he just said, this PIN, however many digits, sometimes it's like 4, sometimes it's 6, whatever your PIN is, the key is in getting this PIN that only you know. And that way, if somebody else gets your phone and they get ready to try to activate it, they can't, because they don't know the PIN. Okay. We got to stay vigilant here. We thought two-factor authentication. We thought multi-factor authentication was going to save us. It is not. Nothing is going to save us. I'm just here to share with you. Nothing is going to save us.
More tips so you can avoid this scam. Try to use authenticator apps or those face scans that we're all now using instead of a text code. Keep your personal information hidden, and don't post online how much money you have, property, or assets.